Hi guys, it's Adam Barton here, former Clitheroe Wolves player. Was fortunate enough to go on after Clitheroe to make a career out of football, hoping a lot of you guys can do the same. So I'm here, got a few questions to answer from you guys. I've got my wife reading out the questions, so let's get started.
What do you remember about your time with Wolves and who was your coach at the time?
When I was at Wolves, I was very lucky to have a really good team. What I remember the most is that we kind of won pretty much everything, which was great for us all. The back rooms full of trophies, and my coach at the time was Stephen Winkley. He seen me at Rawfield, it was when I was 6 years old, and he asked me to join the team that he was starting up. And at first I think I said no because I was very shy, but in the end I joined, and we became a very successful team, and it was very fun, and I wish all the kids are having the same fun that I did.
Who was the best player in your Wolves team apart from you?
Like I said, we had a very good team when I was at Wolves, and we pretty much had the same team throughout the many years I was there. I like to say that my cousin Kieran Barton was up there with one of the better ones, as you know, I'd say he was a big solid defender, but also very good on the ball, and can play, and could probably be pushed into midfield as well. And I do remember Chris Brewer. What I remember from him, he had a beautiful right foot. He took all the free kicks and corners and very rarely missed. So that was me off the free kicks and corners when he arrived, but he did score a lot, so I'd let him take him.
How come you never score past Danny Anderson at five-a-side?
I bet you Daniel's asked that one, hasn't he? How come I? Well, if he was in 11-a-side goal, it might be a bit different, seeing as though he pretty much fills the whole 5-a-side goal. No, Danny's a 5-a-side. I mean, everyone who's played with Danny will know how good of a keeper he is. It's actually very frustrating. And I do come out of 5-a-sides thinking, what's going on? Why? How is this possible? But no, he's a brilliant goalkeeper at 5-a-sides, and I've seen him in 11-a-side, and he's pretty much just about the same. So it's surprising how he didn't go on to make a career out of football in the net. But these things happen.
Who was the best manager you've played under?
I was fortunate to play under a lot of good managers, but for me, the one that sticks out the most, well, two I would say, was in the early days when I was a youth team, Dean Ramsdale and Jamie Hoyland. They were the both two that gave me enough mentally to become a professional football player. It wasn't necessarily all about your ability back then. It was learning the game and knowing what it takes mentally rather than physically, and your ability. So for me, when I spent 2 years with them in youth team level at Preston, they were probably the most important part of my upbringing, of course, into my career in football. And of course, when I mentioned Stephen Winkley, he brought me from a shy little boy into playing football. And if that was never the case, he knew that I wouldn't be here, answering these questions and having a career in football. So for me, it comes down to the early part of my stages in football.
How did playing at Fratton Park compare to other grounds that you've played at?
Everyone in football knows what kind of stadium and atmosphere Fratton Park brings, and I had the privilege again to play there, and it was a successful time. I just remember being in the playoffs with them, and the crowd were just unbelievable, that you couldn't even speak to your teammates on the pitch. You had to literally shout to them to give instructions and things like that. And after that game, I just thought, wow, this is incredible. I had the privilege again to play at stadiums like the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal, White Hart Lane, and even they don't compare to Fratton Park. They might have the nice stands and the amount of people that turn up and all these lovely changing rooms and stuff, but when it comes down to playing on the pitch, the atmosphere and what the fans brought to Portsmouth and to Fratton Park was incredible. So it's hard to, especially in the stadiums I've played in, I haven't witnessed, I haven't seen an atmosphere like it. So it was brilliant to play there.
Which club did you feel you played your best football at and why?
I'd like to say I did well at Team Partick Thistle up in Scotland. Um, I signed a 3-year contract there, which straight away kind of relaxed me and knew that I could fit in, and it wasn't a quick turnover. Like a lot of people these days, only signing 1-year contracts. It's hard to get yourself in the team, settle when you know that you could be on your way out in 6 months' time. So when I went up there, it was an open mind, open head, didn't know much about Scottish football, and I was lucky enough to win the Player of the Year, Player of the Month in the league 1 year, and this was just all just down to having confidence and an open mind about things and not worrying about things too much. And I felt that when I play my best football is when I'm doing that and I'm not thinking about it too much. And so yeah, I would say Partick Thistle I probably had my most successful. I enjoyed it the most.
What is the best goal you've ever scored and why?
The best goal I've ever scored, I'll probably say my first goal when it was against Burnley. I know a lot of people locally,
Including your wife's family.
including my wife's family, of course. Yeah, a lot of people might remember that goal. It was obviously special to me because it was my first goal, and again it was against Burnley for Preston, so that was very big as well. Full house, Turf Moor. So yeah, that's definitely my favourite goal.
You'll like this question. Who's the better player, you or Liam?
Oof, that's a hard question. Don't let me think about that. Well, I know what my brother would say. So no, I'd like to think it's me, but I think my brother would think it was him. I mean, if he did keep fit and did it every day like me, I'm sure he would have gone on to do very well. But I believe he was a goalkeeper as a kid, so he didn't play outfield for long. He still thinks he can play now, but they call him the 55-minute man or the 60-minute man because he comes off every game at 60 minutes because he's not fit enough. So, but yeah, I'd like to think it's me, but I'm not quite sure what everyone else would think about that.
There was a rumour Liverpool were interested in you while you were at Preston. Is there any truth in this?
Yeah, there was a lot of talks with a few clubs when I was at Preston. I came through Preston and it was in the Championship and we were doing well. And it was in the papers. I never personally got contacted by my agent saying Liverpool are interested in you. So whether it was true or not, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't sure. I wish it was true, but obviously I never went on to sign for them. But no, it was nice to see that there was something in the paper. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you see that Liverpool are interested in you, just that was a bit, a confidence boost in yourself, and little things like that make you go on to the training session or the next match and believe in yourself a bit more. So whether it was or not true, it did help me in my progress in Preston North End.
If you could have your time over again, would you choose the same profession?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've loved my time playing football. It's what a lot of boys' dreams are. I was again lucky enough to do that, and with the help of Clitheroe Wolves, I got that chance. And if it wasn't for them, then again I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be in the job. I wouldn't be in the career that I had. And so yeah, definitely, it's been amazing. I guess it's the only thing I've known since I was 6 years old. So to keep doing that and to do a career which is just a hobby at the end of the day was brilliant for me. So yeah, definitely.
What are your plans after football?
It's a hard question. I'm really not quite sure, but I've thought about a lot of things, and one of my interests is developing kids a lot like the Wolves kids to come up and try and do what I've done, and hopefully even better. So one of my aims was to guide the players and to be a part of their youth development, and to try to get them again where I am or higher, hopefully higher. So that was one of my plans, and I'm hoping to do that. I've just got to get the plans together. But yeah, that's probably my main thing, and I'd love doing that. And to see someone go on and do well would give me so much joy.
If you could pick a five-a-side team of players you have played with, who would be in it?
Well, once for certain, Danny Anderson in net. He's obviously, he's never been a professional football player, but for my five-a-side team, I wouldn't think of any other goalkeeper than Danny Anderson. So yeah, it's definitely him in the goal. Someone else in there, I'd probably go with John Fleck. I spent 3 years with him at Coventry. He's gone on to do brilliant. He's now playing at Sheffield United in the Scottish team. So yeah, he pretty much had everything in the bag. He was for a 3'2" player. He was he could do it all. So he'd definitely be in there. My time at Preston, I would say the Beast, John Parkin. If you don't know about him, he's just a massive guy who just knew where the net was. As soon as he had a chance, he'd put it away. He did pretty much stand in one place for the whole game though. So in a five-a-side game, that would be okay for us. We'll just keep him up top, and he could swivel and score. So I'd have him. And then two more. Graham Alexander, I think, would be my fourth. Is it my fourth pick in the team? He was just a leader, as shown in his career. He's played over 1,000 games in his career. A lot of them in the Premiership, Championship, and a lot of people who are watching this might support Burnley and know about him, know of him. So and there's no denying what he had. So he would just be in the middle, just dictating everything. And I'd probably say another Burnley player at the moment. I had a chance to play with Robbie Brady when I was the Republic of Ireland under 21s. I can remember the first training session I had with him when he was at Manchester United as a kid. He was just levels above us all. I thought he could have even gone on to play for the first team back then for Republic of Ireland. His ability on the ball was out of this world, and at the time I'd never seen anything like it. So I just remember him being absolutely brilliant. I think he's had a lot of injuries recently, which has probably stopped his progress in football, but there's no denying he'll stay in the Premiership and he'll go on to do really well.
How are you finding the lockdown and managing to keep fit?
Yeah, it's not ideal. Obviously, I hope everyone at home is keeping safe and sticking to the rules, and not going out and being mischievous. So, but for me, it's been okay. Obviously when you've got your family around you, and when I've got my little boy Story around me, he does keep a smile on my face. So it's a time for family, and I hope you guys are having a good time with your families, and it's important to share this time together and do what you need to do to keep yourselves happy and to keep fit. It's very, very important for someone like myself. I doing a program called Insanity. Whether or not you've heard of it, it's just this intense workout that we do every single day, and I take the weekends off, which is very important to have your days off to let your muscles grow back, get stronger, and recover. So at this moment in time, I tend to do the Insanity workouts with maybe I go on a jog once a week just to keep my high endurance up. But it's been quite difficult really with the spaces you've got and stuff like that, but you've got to find a way, and you have to find a way. So that's what I've been doing.
Final question. If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why? Don't feel pressure to put me in there.
Right. Ooh. Well, seeing as we're talking football, definitely one of them would be Andre Pirlo. I've just watched him throughout my career. I've read everything about him. I've read his books, and I can remember. Well, I'm sure my brother will remember actually. Many times before Preston games, I'd be at home, and my brother would come in, and he'd be like, "Are you ready to go? Are you getting ready to go to the game?" And what would be on the screen would just be clips of Pirlo. And unfortunately, I never got to that level, or nowhere near that level, but it did help me a lot in my way to becoming a professional, and when I was in the game as well. I even still watch him now. Everything he did, I just enjoyed watching. Everything he does off the pitch, he's brilliant. He conducts himself very well. So definitely, yeah, I'd definitely like to speak to him and sit down with him and pick his brain about things. Um, being a very musical man as well, my dad being in the music business, I couldn't not avoid a guitar or a drum kit. So I was brought up on all these instruments. And one band I was definitely brought up on was the Beatles. And for me, Paul McCartney I just loved everything he did musically, and I thought he was brilliant. And even now, when he's still playing out there, probably not as good as what he used to be like, of course, but he's brilliant. And as a Beatle as well, Paul McCartney would be my second choice, and my third choice would be. Oof, that's a hard question. Not my wife, because I get
You have dinner with me
I
every
get to
day.
have dinner with her every single day. And for my third choice, I would go with Jim Carrey. He's by far my favourite actor. I remember just growing up and watching Liar Liar and Ace Ventura and The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. He's just so funny, and he'd be very fun to go out and have a meal with. I'm sure of it. So is that all the questions?
Yeah.
Right, well, I just want to say thank you, and I hope I've answered the questions okay. And just want to say, make sure you stay at home and stay safe, and keep your family safe, and enjoy it rather than not, and keep playing football in the back garden.